Hello, happy stampers. This is Kate with Kate's Paper Creations, and I have something a little different for you today. I have made some boxes in the past, and I think I've made at least one tutorial, but I think probably only one. And one of my subscribers says, "Do you ever make 3D projects?" And of course, my first thought went to boxes, and so I'm going to do a box today, and you can let me know what you think. I have here a printed tutorial that I put together. I do this for all of my 3D projects, and so if it's something that you would like to have, you can send me your email and I will forward that out to you. These are the boxes that I'm going to make. This is the box I'm going to make today. Two different samples of it. It is 2 by 2 by 7 inches tall. Okay, and this one is stamped. This one has the designer paper. Just to kind of give you some ideas of things you could do. Let me get into making the box because I have some tips and tricks along the way. So, keep my cheat sheet where I can see it. I'm going to start with a piece of cardstock that measures 8.5 by 9. And I just saw a small error in my sheet, so I'm going to fix that. 8.5 by 9. Then you are going to take it on the 9-inch side, which is this way, and you're going to score it at 2 inches. Now this creates a line for the bottom of the box. So when this gets folded away, this gets folded down to make the bottom of the box. Okay? And this gives you a line to stamp to. So like for this particular box, I stamped, this was Pale Papaya, and I stamped with Pale Papaya ink, and I used some stamps from the Color and Contour and Hand Pinned Petals design stamps, and just put a tone on tone design around, and I used this line as the guide for where the bottom of that design would be, and I stamped it on there. So that gives you that, and you want to do that now before you move on to the rest of the scoring. Once you have your design stamped, colored, ready to go, then you're going to go back to your paper trimmer and you're going to turn it to the 8.5-inch side at the top. And you're going to, let's get it right, the 8.5-inch side at the top. This score line is the bottom. It doesn't really matter in this case, but it's going to go in your trimmer this way. And you are going to score it at 2, 4, 6, and 8 inches. So let's do that. Two, 4, 6, and let me open that up, and 8, or you could have scooted it over and just did it. This is a 1/2 inch. Okay, get that out of the way. So now I have all my score lines on there, and I'm going to fold and burnish all of my lines at this point. And then of course the one in the bottom. You want to have good, nice, crisp lines, so you do want to burnish those. Okay, now we are going to do some cutting, and you can see in my tutorial that we are cutting these 2 flaps. And so we're going to cut up from the bottom to that bottom score line, and I'm not very straight, but that'll be okay. It's not going to show. All 3 or 4 of the score lines, just right on the score line, just cut right up to that bottom score line. That's where you're going to want to stop. And this little piece here is going to get totally cut away. Like that. And then 2 of the flaps, this one and this one, make sure I get in the picture here for you, are just cut off so they're shorter. They don't need to be, you don't need to add that much bulk to your box. And then we're going to cut at a diagonal here just to get these so they'll fold in nicely. Just like that. So there's what your box bottom looks like. Okay. Now I'm not going to do a bunch of embellishing here. I'm going to just show you what I do next. This is where you would decide what you want to do. If it's already been colored and stamped and colored and everything, you're done. But if you want to add decorative paper like I did with this box, you will need 4 pieces that are 1 3/4 by 6 3/4 to put on each of these side panels. And this, so you would need to cut 4 of those. Now I use, when I am building anything 3D, I always use glue. Now it's your choice what kind of glue you want to use. I use Aleene's Quick Dry Tacky Glue. I have been doing 3-dimensional projects with my Silhouette Cameo electronic cutter for 20 years. I have been through every type of tape, every type of adhesive known to man. Maybe not. Okay, I might be exaggerating just a little bit there. They always came apart unless I used glue. So I'm just saying, if you let them sit for very long, whenever there's resistance, it will pull apart. Tacky tape, all of it, it just does not hold. So I always use glue. So I've made my point. Okay. And so that's why I'm using glue. And I will put the glue on here, and I want to make sure that this seam, you can just put a little bit on there, but I want to make sure the seam gets right up to the edge of the seam. So I've got a nice, clean, tight seam when it's dry. Then you can just lay it flat and it'll just like that. Okay. Now this is, you can put your DSP on here, your decorative papers on here while it's still flat. That's when you want to do it. It's just way easier. Okay. So there is the basic box. Now we're just going to, I'm not going to do a bunch with this one. I'm going to just show you the basic box. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue on each of those angled flaps. Then I'm going to put a little bit of glue on each of these flaps, primarily around the edge, but a little bit in the middle won't hurt. And we're just going to fold those over and square up our box and hold them in place. I can turn it over and we can just let it and press down a little bit and let it dry. Now those flaps inside might need a little help, so I'm going to take a little ruler and I'm just going to make sure those get, yeah, they're getting stuck. Just make sure they get pressed down as well. And there is your basic box. Okay, now we're going to do the lid. And for the lid, you will need a 6 by 6 piece of whatever you're going to use. It can be just plain cardstock again, and you can cut some more decorative paper to put on those panels. If you decide to do that, you would need 5 panels, and they would need to be 1 3/4 inches square, and that would cover each of these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, counting the top. Okay, so start out at 6 by 6. Then you are going to put it in your paper trimmer, and I've got one here I need to show you. This is a 6 by 6 piece. You're going to score it at 2 inches. You want it just slightly bigger than 2 inches. So the way you're going to do that is you are going to make the edge of this paper just minutely short of the 2-inch line. Okay, that will make that center of the lid just slightly bigger than 2 inches. And there's just really, I mean, you could say it's like 30 seconds. I mean, that's what I'm talking about here. So I don't know that you can see it, but it's just, there's the 2-inch mark, and you can see it's just barely a 32nd of an inch. And I'm going to score it like that on all 4 sides. Now, when you're scoring designer series paper or decorative papers, they're much lighter. And Stampin' Up's decorative papers, DSP we call it, is actually a really nice weight that you can do this with. Some of the store-bought ones from Joann's and stuff are just so lightweight you would never make them work. You'd have to do panels. But Stampin' Up's cardstock is actually quite sturdy. But even still, you want, when you're scoring, you want to be careful not to press too hard. You don't need super deep scoring. So just go lightly, and maybe just do it a couple of times, but do it lightly. Okay, then we're going to turn it and do the same thing. Just a hair's breadth short of 2 inches, and away we go. Next, just like that. And next, last one, just like that. So now I have all my score marks on there. They're a little bit hard to see. Might be harder for you to see in the video, I'm not sure, but there's going to be 9 squares. Now you're going to come in with your scissors, and you're going to cut from one side. It doesn't matter what side you choose. You're going to cut that score line just like that. And you're going to cut this one the same way. Okay, now you're going to turn it and do it the opposite side. You're going to do the same thing. Just like that. And like that. And then you're going to cut these off. You don't need the bulk. It'll kind of interfere with the fit of the lid if you don't cut it away. So you want to cut away. And it's not, you don't have to like measure and be perfect or anything. Okay. And then you're going to cut these and give them a little bit of an angle. Just makes the whole box come together without too much bulk getting in the way of the seams, which can mess with the way it lays out. So you want to do that. And that is what your finished box top is going to look like. I'm going to leave that side up so that I think it shows up better. Okay, so that's the top of the box. Now, all you have to do is glue this together. But before I do, I want to share something else with you. You could have a little bit of fun and put some border on your box top. And I used these basic borders right here. And I just decided to get out this little zigzag border. If you're going to do this, take your 6x6 and do your scoring first, because that you don't want to do this first, because that will mess with how your layout is. So score it first. Then once it's scored, then you can come in and put this on. And what I did is I just used some washi tape to hold it in place, and I put it so that the tips of those zigzags touched the edge of the box lid, and I pressed this down in place and I ran it through, and I did it for all 4 sides. Now you're going to get some funky looking corners, but those aren't really going to show when you get it all put together. It's going to look really cute. So now that I've done that part, let's do this part. Get those pieces out of the way. And see, those funky corners are going away, so it's not really going to matter. Okay, get those, and then do my little diagonal thing here. And so any of the border dies that you have could probably work for this, and it could make a really cute topper. Oops. get myself together here. There we go. So we'll make this lid so that you can see what it's going to look like. Oh, got a little chad there. Let's get rid of that. Okay. Now we're going to put glue on these tapered flaps because they're going to go inside the box. So let me get some glue on there. And let's hope this works. I didn't test this, so we'll hope I got the sizing right, that I followed my own rules. If I didn't, well, I have a backup. Okay, let's see how this comes together. And the last side. There we go. So there's our lid. Now here comes the test, right? We're going to make sure. And I did it with that design. You could have done it with the pansies on the outside, but it fits perfect. Look at that. Isn't that cute? That's kind of fun to add that border, I think. And it would look even cuter if I had done something with the box, which I might go back and add some pansy paper or something. Wouldn't that be cute? Let's cut a piece and just test that look and see. What did I say I needed it to be? 1 3/4 by 6 3/4. Let's cut a piece. You know, the designer series paper is on sale right now, and so if you get hooked on making some boxes for gifts, it would be good to think about taking advantage of the sale. Okay, I'm having a hard time holding this in place. There we go. There's my 1 3/4. Set that aside and get my piece out here, 6 3/4. And so this would go on here. Get my pansies right side up. There we go. This would go on here with an 1/8 inch border like that. Now you could make this wider and make your border smaller. That's just a measurement thing. If you went I'd have to look at my ruler. If I went 1 7/8 by 6 7/8, it would leave less of a border. So that's just a matter of taste, but that looks kind of cute, doesn't it? So that might be kind of a fun thing you could do. And then put the cap on. A little tricky with all those zigzaggies. Well, I'm making that look difficult, but it's really not. And there's what that would kind of look like. So there you go, 3 different versions. There is just a myriad of things you could do with this box. For decorating it, there's all kinds of room for embellishments of every kind. You could do some die cutting stuff and put on here, build it up. You could put a pretty flower, make a flower and put on the top. You could also cut a window in this if you chose to. You could cut a window, and if you wanted people to be able to see inside, and put some acetate over it. So there's some ideas. I hope you enjoyed today's box making video, and I'm going to be putting together some more. Thanks for stopping. Ooh, I'm going to sneeze. Oops. Thanks for stopping by. You have a great day.